Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Sapakaya Dharmasya Sarvadharma Swarupine Sapakaya Dharmasya Sarvadharma Swarupine Avatara Varishtaya Ramakrishna Te Namah. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityor ma mritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us offer our salutations to Sri Ramakrishna, the embodiment of all religions, the Supreme God incarnate, who came to establish religion universal. Let us pray to Him to lead us from the unreal to the real, to lead us from the darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, to lead us from death to immortality. We have been studying Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Today's topic I have chosen from the Gospel. Anger, one of the alligators. It is well known how anger creates immeasurable suffering. Anger ruins a person from all the moral values. In fact, if a person is too mad, he comes to a state of insanity. That's why he commits all sorts of crimes. And the whole world is full of incidents influenced by dreadful anger. So, Sri Ramakrishna has pointed out to us who are our enemies, what are the obstacles we face in our spiritual life, and how we should keep practicing with zealousness. Spiritual life begins with spiritual practice. If we are not doing spiritual practices, spiritual life has not started at all. So, one should be very conscious about the things to be done, and one should be very serious in practicing it. So, Sri Ramakrishna has given number of instructions in the Gospel for us to practice in life. Only through practice we get success. We have been formatted into some kind of worldly life. Spiritual life means we have to reformat our life. It's very important. Mind is going in one direction and it is towards the world more and more. It is running and getting involved, creating sufferings. Spiritual life means getting the mind involved in spiritual practices. So, Narendra and his friends came down from their seats on the raised platform of the Panchavati and stood near the master. Sri Ramakrishna returned to his room with them. The master said, when you plunge in the water of the ocean, you may be attacked by alligators, but they won't touch you if your body is smeared with turmeric. There are no doubt 6 alligators, lust, anger, avarice, and so on, within you, in the hearts of fathomless depths. But protect yourself with the turmeric of discrimination and renunciation, and they won't touch you. Again Sri Ramakrishna said, through the discipline of constant practice, one is able to give up attachment to lust and gold. That's what the Gita says. By practice, one acquires uncommon powers of mind. Then one doesn't find it difficult to subdue the sense organs and to bring anger, lust and the like under control. Such a person behaves like a tortoise which, once it has tucked in its limbs, never puts them out. You cannot make the tortoise put its limbs out again, though you chop it to pieces with an axe. In another place, Sri Ramakrishna has said, as a tiger devours other animals, so does the tiger of zeal for the Lord eat up lust, anger and the other passions. Once this zeal grows in the heart, lust and the other passions disappear. The gopis of Vrindavan had that state of mind because of their zeal for Krishna. Sri Ramakrishna was addressing some of the devotees. He said, you see, the feeling of I and mine is a result of ignorance. But to say, O God, thou art the doer, and all these belong to thee, is a sign of knowledge. How can you say such a thing as mine? Sri Ramakrishna gives the example. The superintendent of the garden says, this is my garden. But if he is dismissed because of some misconduct, then he doesn't have the courage to take away even such a worthless thing as his mango wood box. Anger and lust cannot be destroyed. Turn them towards God. If you must feel desire and temptation, then desire to realize God, feel tempted by Him, discriminate and turn the passions away from worldly objects. When the elephant is about to devour a plant and tree in someone's garden, the Mahout strikes it with his iron-tipped goad. Then Sri Ramakrishna says about the importance of spiritual practice. Without practice, you will not be able to get anything in spiritual life. So, Sri Ramakrishna says, one must live in holy company and pray unceasingly. One should weep for God. When the impurities of the mind are thus washed away, one realizes God. The mind is like a needle covered with mud, and God is like a magnet. The needle cannot be united with the magnet unless it is free from mud. Tears wash away the mud, which is nothing but lust, anger, greed, and other evil tendencies, and the inclination towards worldly enjoyments as well. As soon as the mud is washed away, the magnet attracts the needle. That is to say, man realizes God. Only the pure in heart see God. A fever patient has an excess of watery element in his system. What can quinine do for him unless that is removed? Turn your passions to God. Girindra Ghosh of Paturiya Ghata once remarked, since you cannot get rid of your passions, your lust, your anger, and so on, give them a new direction. Instead of desiring worldly pleasures, desire God. Have desire to get union with Brahman. If you can't get rid of anger, then change its direction. Assume the tamasic attitude of bhakti and say, what? I have repeated the hallowed name of Durga, and shall I not be liberated? How can I be a sinner anymore? How can I be bound anymore? If you can't get rid of temptation, direct it toward God. Be infatuated with God's beauty. If you can't get rid of pride, then be proud to say that you are the servant of God, you are the child of God. Thus turn the six passions towards God. So like this, Sri Ramakrishna has given a number of practical instructions to purify our mind. Particularly the anger, which is most dangerous in everyone's life. Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsaha Sangasteshu Upajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kamaha Kamat Krodho Vijayate Krodhat Bhavati Sammoha Sammohat Smriti Vibhramaha Smriti Bhramshat Buddhinasho Buddhinashat Pranashyati. Lord Krishna has clearly pointed out in the Bhagavad Gita, when a person thinks of the objects, what happens? Attachment to the objects arises. From attachments, desire is born. From desire, anger rises. From anger comes delusion. From delusion, the loss of memory. From loss of memory, the destruction of discrimination. From destruction of discrimination, a person perishes. So, now we have become aware of the dreadful consequences of the anger. It is because of the anger of Drona towards Drupad, the whole Mahabharata war took place. In order to take vengeance against Drupad, Drona did all things necessary to kill him, to humiliate him. So the whole Mahabharata story is a good demonstration of how anger plays in everyone's life. So when we lose our temper, what exactly happens? We lose our reasoning too. When we lose our reasoning, we become animals. we are no more human beings. We all have learnt from our sad experience that when our temper flies, we never do a thing that we'll be proud of. And often we end up apologizing. However, apology does not help curb our anger. In fact, by saying that you are sorry, all you have done is you have justified your deeds done in anger. In other words, you have found an excuse to be angry again. That's how we are being fooled by these qualities. The Gita tells us to first recognize how anger works. Anger is always associated with the frustration of not being able to fulfill your desire, like greed, sexual desire, financial desire, hunger for power and prestige. When you can't get rid of these things, you become frustrated. When you cannot get what you want, your mind gets disturbed and anger ensues, which takes your mind away. Consequently, your sanity is affected. The beginning of anger could be the most trivial, but in no time it reaches to its greatest height, totally destroying your discriminating power. You don't care whom you are hurting or harming. If you are unable to harm those you wish to harm, then you start harming or hurting yourself. That's what the Lord meant by saying that the end result of anger is own annihilation. Anger is totally unbiased towards age, race, color, creed and religion. No person is exempt from it. It rouses even those who are by nature gentle and quick to commit savage and violent acts. So, we have understood how powerful and ruinous anger is. There are 3 clues for avoiding anger and its ugly consequences. First, remember, anger is not always bad as long as you have not lost your discriminating power. How do you recognize that? By not becoming stubborn about fulfilling your desires. Secondly, every evening set aside 10 minutes before going to sleep and lay before minds all the consequences connected with anger and judge their real values. Remember, you cannot afford to become angry without losing something. Anger brings grief to a father, divorce to a husband or wife, failure to an employee, loss to a businessman, and the list goes on. So in the verses of the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna has clearly pointed out. So we should read those passages every day and pray to the Lord to really understand the true meaning of what He wished to convey to us through these verses. Your prayer will definitely be answered one day. When that happens, you may still get angry occasionally, but you will not be stubborn. All the direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna were all realized great souls who got direct training from Sri Ramakrishna. They have dealt with this subject, anger. Swami Brahmanji said, No effort is wasted. Lust, greed, anger all gradually leave a person who practices spiritual disciplines. Anger is controlled through patience. Be patient, forbearing, and humble. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, he who can forbear lives, he who cannot is lost. Sri Ramakrishna used to say that the power of the mind becomes strengthened by the practice of continence. A person so strengthened is not overcome by lust and anger. Passions seem trivial to it. Meditation is possible if you can keep lust, anger and all other passions under control. If any of them grows strong, you cannot have meditation. Have faith, have self-confidence, convince yourself we are devotees of Sri Ramakrishna. We are free souls. Assuredly we shall realize God. Have this firm conviction, and then alone you can overcome the furious enemies, lust and anger and greed. Those who have faith in God cannot be harmed by lust and anger, though these they may arise occasionally. You desire to follow the path of renunciation. Naturally, your relatives will not like it and they will try to dissuade you. Nevertheless, you must not be angry at them, nor should you speak harshly to them. If you want to be a holy person, learn to bear and forbear. Swami Chidananda, another direct disciple, also said about this topic, if there is concentration on any single object, there the idea of God manifests itself. Lust, anger, fear, affection, any of these may bring about concentration. For example, anger, as with Kamsa. In that anger, he was always thinking about Krishna only. Anger is a concentrated form of lust. It makes one lose one's head completely. Lust does not so absolutely overwhelm the mind. Lust, anger and avarice, these are but different forms of the same thing. They are the eternal enemies of the Jnani and destroyers of knowledge and wisdom. Join the senses, the Lord. That's the way to teach the senses a lesson. With the gradual increase of love of God, lust, anger, etc. wane out. I am not angry, but I use the semblance of anger for a purpose. Swami Chidananda said, he is a fool who cannot get angry. He is a wise man who will not. Try to be one with all. Never antagonize. In the degrees that you do, you are not feeling oneness. If anyone says anything against you, never get angry or resist it. Analyze carefully and see if it is true. If it is true, correct it. If it is not true, then what is that to you? Whose is the gift if the one to whom it is offered does not accept it? Lord Buddha's teaching. Swami Adbhutananda, another direct disciple, said, whenever he saw somebody angry, Adbhutananda would say immediately, don't touch him. He has become an untouchable. If you touch him, you will have to bathe to purify yourself again. It's a waste of energy, a fruitless endeavor to try to calm a person who has lost his temper. It works better If you talk to him when he has regained his composure. Swami Abhedanandaji said, realize the idea that you are the witness of the mind. Lust, anger and other deadly enemies are the attributes of the mind, and so they can't touch the soul. Raise your mind to Ajna Chakra, center between the eyebrows, and ponder over the truth that lust, anger and the rest are not the attributes of the soul. Meditate on this idea. Swami Ramakrishna said, hatred and anger, they are signs of ego. If a person hates anyone or gets angry with anyone, you may be sure he has not conquered his ego and cannot feel true love in his heart. Swami Akhandanji said, what can mere sitting quiet do? What can mere sitting quiet do? For I find you getting irritated at the slightest provocation. Your mind is full of anger. Can that be the result of long meditation in the shrine? The Master used to say that attainment of perfection means becoming gentle, maintain your equanimity under all circumstances. The whole mind is packed with anger and passion. Weep and pray. How piteously they cry for their children and wives, but how few cry for the Lord. Suppose, for instance, that when you come down from the shrine, I don't speak to you affably a single word that you like, and so you become angry. Now if this be so, what good is it that you sat in the shrine for such a long time? Swamiji used to say, during group singing, somebody's emotion may be aroused and he may fall down in a trance. But when that is over, his mind turns to enjoyment. What kind of trance is that? Swamiji was very much against such emotionalism. Swami Vivekananda, another direct disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, said, as you think, so you act. As thoughts of love help in expanding the self, so do thoughts of anger and jealousy lead to its contraction. Unless one can restrain one's passion, anger, etc., it's impossible to get anywhere near God. If you want to control your passion, anger, etc., you have to meditate on Sri Ramakrishna and Holy Mother. And you will then be free from all degrading thoughts. This way, all the Mahatmas have given practical ways of purifying the mind, controlling the anger. That means we have to monitor our thoughts and actions carefully. A spiritual person should be more careful than anybody else, because every moment of life is important, and the life is an opportunity given to us by the supreme grace of God. So, to make use of it in the best possible way is our responsibility. If we don't use this life in a proper way, that means if we don't strive for spiritual perfection, then the opportunity given is lost. We certainly do not know when do we get this opportunity again. Unless you struggle, you will not get anything. Struggle, struggle, struggle. Then you will have the glimpse of grace. You can recognize grace only through struggling, not simply sitting idle. A tamasic mind cannot recognize grace. Rajasic mind also cannot recognize. It's only Sattvic mind really recognizes grace and becomes overwhelmed in joy. So let us try to practice all these important points and read Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna as many times as possible. Try to make corrections in the life. That's the way. Every moment we have to correct ourselves. That's the meaning of Sri Ramakrishna's telling, as long as I live, so long do I learn. We have come almost to the end of the Gospel. Still a few more pages are there. Keshav Chandra Sen listened to these words with wonder in his eyes and said to the Brahma devotees, I have never before heard such a wonderful and beautiful interpretation of jnana and bhakti. That is, he is referring to Sri Ramakrishna's utterances. Keshav said to the master, How long will you hide yourself in this way? I dare say people will be thronging here by and by in great crowds. Master said, What are you talking of? I only eat and drink and sing God's name. I know nothing about gathering crowds. Hanuman once declared, I know nothing about the day of the week or the position of the moon and stars in the sky. I simply meditate on Rama. Keshav said, All right, sir, I shall gather the crowd, but they all must come to your place. Master said, I am the dust of everybody's feet. If anyone is gracious enough to come here, he is welcome. Keshav said, Whatever you say, sir, your advent cannot be in vain. In the meantime, the devotees had arranged a kirtan. Many of them had joined in it. The party started at the Panchavati and moved towards the master's room. Hriday blew the horn, Gopidas played the drum, and two devotees played the cymbals. Sri Ramakrishna sang, O man, if you would live in bliss, repeat Lord Hari's name. Then you will lead a life of joy and go to paradise and feed upon the fruit of moksha evermore. Such is the glory of his name. I give you the name of Hari, which Shiva, God of gods, repeats aloud with his 5 mouths. The master danced with the strength of a lion and went into samadhi. Regaining consciousness of the outer world, he sat down in his room and began to talk with Keshav and other devotees. Master said, God can be realized through all paths. It is like you are coming to Dakshineshwar by carriage, by boat, by steamer, or on foot. You have chosen the way according to your convenience and taste, but the destination is the same. Some of you have arrived earlier than others, but all have arrived. The more you rid yourself of upadhis, the nearer you will feel the presence of God. Rainwater never collects on a high mound, it collects only in low land. Similarly, the water of God's grace cannot remain on the high mound of egotism. Before God, one should feel lowly and poor. One should be extremely watchful. Even clothes create vanity. I notice that even a man suffering from an enlarged spleen sings Nidhu Babu's light songs when he is dressed up in a black bordered cloth. There are men who spout English whenever they put on high boots, and when unfit person puts on an ochre cloth, he becomes vain. The slightest sign of indifference to him arouses his anger and pique. God cannot be seen without yearning of heart, and this yearning is impossible unless one has finished with the experiences of life. Those who live surrounded by lust and gold and have not yet come to the end of their experiences do not yearn for God. Shall stop here. Any question to ask? Yeah, that is true. There are million causes for anger. Every small irritation may cause you anger. Even look also may cause you anger. He didn't look me properly. Even a smile. He did not smile. He was just making fun of me. Like that. So the point is, ultimately it boils down to ego. The more we are egoistic, the more we are conscious about our importance, these things do happen. And it causes tremendous damage. In Ramayana also we find in a fit of anger, Ravan abused Vibhishan and said, if you were not my brother, I would have killed you right now. Get away from this place. Even though Vibhishan did not do anything wrong, otherwise he gave his eldest brother good counsel to return back Janaki and save Lanka. But because of his power and position, he became furious. So power and position also make a person furious. I am the Prime Minister. I am the leader. So much gathering I have got. Egoism of any sort is really very bad, and that causes immense suffering. So lots of stories are there regarding the abuse of anger. But we have to be careful, and if you are really practicing spirituality, you must get rid of this anger. Kama yesha krodha yesha rajo guna samudbhava mahashano mahapapma vidhyeni megavairinam. They are the enemies, Kama and Krodha. Kama means indulgence in all sorts of things, indulgence. So when you are not satisfied, you get angry. So, as I said, million reasons are there, million. But everybody has to find out to what extent he should control his anger. That's the point. Anything else? Mr. Jyoti Bhattacharya, any comment or any question? Manjusha Devi. Very good. Shall stop. Chant the name of the Lord and His glory unceasingly, that the mirror of the heart may be wiped clean and quench that mighty forest fire, worldly lust raging furiously within. Our name streamed down in moonlight on the lotus heart, opening its cup to knowledge of thyself, O self, down deep in the waves of His bliss, tasting His nectar at every step, bathing in His name that bath for very selves. Various are thy names, O Lord, in each and every name thy power resides. No times are set, no rites are needful for chanting of thy name. So vast is thy mercy, How huge then is my wretchedness, who find in this empty life and heart no devotion to thy name. O my mind, be humbler than a blade of grass. Be patient and forbearing like a tree. Take no honor to thyself, give honor to all. Chant unceasingly the name of the Lord. O Lord and soul of the universe, mine is no prayer for wealth or retinue. The playthings of lust or the ties of fame. As many times as I may be reborn, grant me, O Lord, a steadfast love for thee. A drowning man in this world's fearful ocean is thy servant, O sweet one. In thy mercy, consider him as dust beneath thy feet. Ah, how I long for the day when an instant separation from thee, O Lord, will be as 1,000 years, when my heart burns with its desire, and the world without thee is a heartless void. Prostrate at thy feet let me be, in unwavering devotion, neither imploring the embrace of thine arms, nor bewailing the withdrawal of thy presence, though it tears my soul asunder. O thou who stillest the hearts of thy devotees, do with me what thou wilt, but thou art my heart's beloved, thou and thou alone. O Lord, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness to light, and lead us from death to immortality. May all be free from dangers, may all realize what is good, may all be actuated by noble thoughts, may all rejoice everywhere. May all be happy, may all be free from disease, may all realize what is good, may none be subject to misery. May the wicked become virtuous, may the virtuous attain tranquility, may the tranquil be freed from bonds, may the freed make others free. May good be done to all people, may the sovereign righteously rule the earth, may all beings ever attain what is good, may the worlds be prosperous and happy. May the clouds pour rain in time, may the earth be blessed with crops, may all countries be freed from calamity, may holy men live without fear. May the Lord destroyer of sins, the presiding deity of all sacred works, be satisfied, for he being pleased, the whole universe becomes pleased, he being satisfied, the whole universe feels satisfied.